What's going on, guys? It's the facial hair. I'm here with a buddy of mine, Desmond, and we're going to have a little discussion for you guys today. We're going to be discussing automotive realism in video games. Is it necessary? What is it? And how can it be applied? So we'll start first with the baseline question of how do you define automotive realism?
Automotive realism, to me, by definition, would be how a car handles, feels, uh, let's say, I guess you could say even looks in a video game. Things like, okay, a good one would be things like every video game has a power slide feature or a button or whatever because that's cool. Say, how does the car power slide? Does it look like it's, kind of on one giant monoball, or does it actually look like it's sliding, or things like that? Does a car look like Hot Wheels, or does it actually look like a Honda, Ford, whatever the hell in the game? Handling wise, I guess that honestly depends on the game, but that's a big part of automotive realism as well. So, by definition, I guess we can narrow it down to how a car handles, how it turns, drifts, lays down the power, things like that.
Do you think that automotive realism is required in games that aren't focused on driving, like say GTA, Saints Row, or even first-person shooter games that involve normal non-military vehicles?
No, I don't. The reason I say no is because if a game isn't focused on, cars or anything automotive like GTA or Saints Row, then I wouldn't waste the time to make a car perfect in a game or set of cars or whatever kind of vehicle you're going to be using, because the purpose in those games is probably shooting stuff and just blowing things up and random odd activities and generally just causing chaos. So no, I don't think it's needed in every game that involves a car.
Okay. So, going with the vein of games like Grand Theft Auto, do you think that with all the controversy around gaming with those kind of games as well, do you think that developers should focus solely on the legal side of racing, whether it be GT or Grand Prix, or should they still continue to make games that focus on things like street racing or cargo transport or things like that?
Yeah, I don't think that video game makers, developers, and such should getting rid of. Okay, I'll put it this way: getting rid of the whole street racing, the underground or the underbelly of the automotive culture. I don't think that's really gonna help with your, let's say, can't think of the word for it, so I'm gonna rephrase it. It's getting rid of it. To me, wouldn't be a good idea because everything's got a dark side, whether it be guns, cars, whatever. It's got a dark side. So you've got your GT, your sanctioned disciplines, and then you've got street racing, the underground, cargo transport, all that stuff, pulling heists, whatever. So getting rid of that, I don't think would be a great idea. Could you do it? Yeah, you could get rid of it, but you get rid of a whole different subgenre of racing that people really enjoy.
All right. So speaking of street racing and street racing games, do you think that nitrous belongs, or not even just nitrous, a boost function belongs in every racing game, or should there be ones that solely require your ability to control the vehicle?
Uh, I'm gonna say yes, and a lot of people probably aren't gonna agree with that, which is fine. Um, I say yes, but with a twist. Boosting in games most of the time is considered suddenly propelling the car forward at some ridiculous speed. Uh, there's different ways to have a boost function. In F1, you do have a boost function. It's a functional boost ability that the car has, but it's not outrageous like in games like Need for Speed, where you hit the boost, you got all these blue flames, and then you just like all of a sudden you're at the end of the track. So yeah, I think it would be good to have in every racing game, but only as an option and not a necessity.
Um, Speaking of different cultures and video games and such like that, what for games that require or games that allow for a wide player base or a wide vehicle choice for the player, should games specifically focus on the quote unobtainable or the sexy cars like exotics and hypers, or should they offer multiple types of cars and even crotch rockets like performance trucks and off-road vehicles?
I say yes because diversity to me is never going to be a bad thing. Um, Now, with certain games, of course, there's not going to be every vehicle type in a game. If you've got a game focused on sanctioned type races like GT races, different types of Grand Prix, drifting, F1, things like that, then if you kind of show up to an F1 track where there's nothing but F1 cars and you have this jacked up, skyjacked friggin' Tonka truck looking thing, then you didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But in certain games to where you do have more freedom with your selection of cars, or vehicle, I should say, then yeah, I would like to see as much as you can put in the game. Whether it be bikes, cars, trucks, jeeps, tanks, whatever. Then yeah, I would like to see I would like to see a wider vehicle selection because, like I said earlier, diversity with me will never be a bad thing.
All right. Um, when it comes to automotive realism in video games, should there be more of a focus on the true to life name brands or how the vehicle actually functions, or should it be more focused on making the car look as good or as real as possible?
Uh, and again, depending on the game, but that's neither here nor there. I believe there should be a good combination of the two. Now, on one side of the spectrum, where they're more arcadey or open world or whatever, aesthetics is a great thing. Like take like games like Forza Horizons, Need for Speed. Those games aren't necessarily uh, focused on how a car works versus how a car looks and appears to perform. Games like Forza, GT, Project Cars, things like that, where performance is key, then yeah, I believe the game should be as real as possible. If I put a stiffer sway bar on the car, I want to notice the difference. If I add a little camber, I want to notice the difference. If I change my boost settings, I want to notice the difference. So yeah, there it needs to be there. Both need to really be there, but it depends on the focus of the video game.
Um, do you think, as a, shall we say, connoisseur of automotive video games, do you think that there is a need for the arcade kind of almost on rails drivers like the older Need for Speeds and the Ridge Racers, as well as there being a need for more performance and more sim based games like the newer Forzas or Project Cars?
I think there's a need for both. Because if you are if you do you really like and enjoy racing games? Then you're probably going to enjoy both types. Me, I tend to go towards simulators, Project Cars, GT, Forza. Those are what I like better. But you've also got the same type of people that really like racing games, but they're not so much into the more technical side of it. They just like to have a car and want to drive it really fast. Enough said. It's simple. And the simple games like that, where it's like driving on rails and you hit the boost button and then you hit this jump or whatever, versus I'm on the track, if my suspension setting is screwed, then I'm probably going to lose the race. You need both, because sometimes I like to take a break from the sims, go to a simple racing game, just relax because it's fun. But then again, I also, when I feel like I need a challenge, then I go to my simulators. Then that's when I got to really work to win. But yeah, there's definitely a need for both, because some people, they like cars, but they're not like way into it. Or they like racing, but they're not like, I gotta be the best. They're just in it for fun. So yeah, those on the rail games, you need those because people enjoy them. And same with the simulators. You need those games because people enjoy them. So there's a need for both, and I really like both. So I'd like to see both to continue.
Um, and this is another question in reference to all the controversy with video games in the last couple of years. Do you think that people that play the high speed, whether it be driving simulators like Project Cars or the more street racing ones like Midnight Club, Need for Speed, and The Crew, do you think that that then translates over into how they operate a motor vehicle on a daily basis? Or do you think the idea that a video game can influence someone's life is a bunch of crap?
I'm not gonna say that it's crap because people function how they function. Say, okay, here's a good example. A lot of guys that play, say, sports games, things like that, that may impact their lives a lot. Either it may impact their lives, or them playing that game may be a direct result of them already liking that sport or activity or whatever. So same thing with racing. Racing. We'll call it racing. Same thing with that. Am I gonna say it impacts their lives? Nah, not really, because it's just a video game. But I also can't say that it won't, because some people are impacted by certain things differently. Every person is different. I can't give you a straight answer because I don't know every person on the planet. I don't know how they're going to react to a certain game or any type of media or feeling or whatever. Some people get a feeling from video games that they really love, and they may want to have that feeling all the time, so they may want to drive the same way that they do in the game. Some people, they like that feeling just because it's a game. They're like, it's a game, I have fun whenever I'm on my downtime or whatever. I want to play this game, it gives me a rush, but I don't need that rush all the time. So I can't really say if it impacts their lives. That's just like asking me if GTA makes people become serial killers. I don't know. Jack the Ripper didn't have GTA, and look what he did.
So, our last question that just to kind of round this out, and it may actually have a lot of impact into this. Do you think that video game around racing in particular for this discussion, should they not necessarily be required, but should developers look to not only offer a fun experience for the players, but also to maybe use this as an outlet to teach people about maybe not motor safety, but how a vehicle works or how to control a vehicle in certain situations? Because there are times where things are out of your control and you can maybe slide on ice or things like that. Do you think they should be looking to educate as much as entertain?
In all honesty, no. I've never once played a game looking for a learning experience. Now, if they had added something like that, okay, yeah, I don't know how everyone's going to receive that, but I mean, it couldn't hurt to learn a little while playing the game, sure. So I'm not against the idea, but I'm not really all for it either. Because I feel like that's something that should be taught already, not necessarily something that video games need to add or focus on. Now, if someone wants to make a game about car safety, sure, okay, cool. I probably won't play it, but whatever. But if you just kind of added it in here and there, like, hey kids, this is not a good idea. If your car is sliding out of control, you need to do this, this, and this. Okay, sure, yeah. But do I think it needs to be there? No. It's a video game. It's for fun. And if you're not learning that in your driver's ed course already, then they kind of did a bad job.
All right. Well, I think we've actually gained a lot here, and we're coming up on the end of our time. So I want to say thank you to you, Desmond, for joining us today. And this has been The Facial Hair, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.